Good afternoon, everyone. So, for today, I will discuss the force field analysis, the flow chart, or the process flow map, or the value stream map, the common process improvement areas, the tact time, and the 8 areas of risk. So, first, let's talk about the force field analysis. Force field analysis is useful to resolve conflict of opinions, comparing pros and cons of a decision, and to evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of an idea, product, or project. It is a technique to list, discuss, and evaluate the forces that support or hinder a decision. So, force field analysis, dinidiscuss niya yung pros and cons na mangyayari sa decision making. And malalaman din dito yung mga reasons behind sa decision na yun. And sabi nga dito, is useful to resolve conflict of opinions. Kasi dati nagkaroon na ng conflict dito na umabot na sa point na dinamay na pati yung mismong organization. Kaya na-invento yung force field analysis para mas maipakita yung reasons bakit kailangan ng change or kung bakit hindi kailangan. Para siya yung nagre-reason out para sa change na yun. Then, meron tayong mga questions na kinukonsider to prepare a force field analysis and related analysis. So, first is, what business benefit will the change deliver? Who supports the change? Who is against it and why? How easy will it be to make the change? Do you have enough time and resources to make it work? What costs are involved? What other business processes will be affected by the change? And what are the risks to successful implementation? So, ayun nga, itong mga questions na to is ginagamit siya para ma-present natin yung mga information na kailangan sa decision making. And dito sa force field analysis, may evaluate natin yung mga strengths and weaknesses ng isang course of action. So, here's a sample diagram that describe the force field analysis. So, itong nasa gitna, ito yung description plan or yung proposal for a change natin. While itong nasa left side naman is yung forces for change and yung nasa right side naman is yung forces against change. Then, itong mga nasa loob ng arrow, ito yung mga parang ayan yung mga reasons na tawag din. Basta ayun yung mga reasons kung bakit kailangan ng change, yung nasa left side, and then yung nasa right side naman is ayun yung mga reasons kung bakit against sila sa change. Then makikita nyo na may mga numbers yan or score. Ay, mga numbers na yan is nire-rate siya using the Likert scale, wherein yung number 1 has the weak force and the 5 is yung nire-represent niya yung strong force. Then, etong mga arrows pala na to, it describes the influence of forces. Wherein yung big arrows, ito yung mga forces na may greater influence, and then yung small arrows has the least influence. So, sa ibang diagram, mas na-emphasize mas ine-emphasize nila yung sa mga arrows na yun. Makikita natin kung ano yung may greater influence and yung may least influence. Based din yun sa scores na yun. So, ayun nga, ito nga, yung scores na yan, after natin ma-rate, yung bawat reasons na yan, is ito total natin. As you can see dito sa diagram, yung forces for change has total of 10 and the forces against change is 11. So, parang pinapakita dyan na mas marami yung against para sa change sa pag-upgrade ng factory with new manufacturing equipment. Then, yung pinaka-main reason dyan is yung pinapakita dito sa forces against change na siya yung may pinakamataas na total kasi marami yung against dyan kasi hindi nila kayang i-adapt yung bagong upgrade sa factory, pati na rin yung mga bagong equipment na ilalabas. So, parang pinapakita diyan na hindi dapat tayo mag-upgrade and mag-adapt ng new manufacturing equipment. Force field analysis is a very effective tool to correct the approach most people use when advocating for change. Kasi nasusuportahan niya yung decision through stating reasons or factors and transparent siya sa lahat. And then nalilesen niya yung trouble na pwedeng mangyari. The typical approach is to present the arguments supporting the change initiative, and when confronted with objections and counter-arguments, restate the position, include additional facts, and reiterate the perceived benefits. Then, kapag hindi naman yun nag-work, the client continues to object. The tone, volume, speed, and general intensity increases. So, kapag paulit-ulit na lang na nangyayari yun, darating siya sa point na kapag ulit-ulit kayo na nag-object, pag paulit na ulit na siya na nag-object, doon na mag-uumpisa na magkaroon na ng argument. Kaya yung iba, parang ginagawa nila yung pulling rank na sinasabi, which means that they use their authority to force the other party to agree with their viewpoint. Yung kahit hindi ka agree dun sa for change na yun is gagamitin nila yung yung authority nila para pumanig ka sa kanila. Kasi parang tatakutin ka nila ganun or iba blackmail. Yan yung typical na ginagamit sa mga companies. Kaya mabilis natatapos yung discussion nila kapag meron silang decision making na ginagawa. A different approach can be followed by using force field analysis. Since the process involves identifying the forces against change and ranking their intensity, the auditor can prepare arguments to address these objections. By systematically addressing these objections, the presenter will demonstrate an understanding of the priorities, challenges, and concerns of the client, and eliminate the objections which, once removed, leave the arguments for change standing. Instead of repeating and insisting on the recommendation, the presenter disarms the objector. So, using this approach, parang natutulungan yung mga auditors na mabigyan sila ng opportunity, hindi lang para maintindihan nila yung mga clients nila, pati na rin mapaliwanag, parang may demonstrate nila yung understanding nila about dun. Kasi nga yung auditee, parang hindi sila naniniwala na yung mga internal auditors, yung mga auditees, hindi sila naniniwala na naintindihan sila ng mga internal auditors. Kaya kaya yung approach na yun is natutulungan nila para ma-express naman ng mga auditors yung understanding nila about dun. Using force field analysis nga is may papakita nila ng maayos yung evident nila na yung mga auditors nga is nag-research talaga about dun sa client's and kapag merong disagreement, at least meron silang kahit papanong understanding sa client na yun. Internal auditors don't always have to present the completed diagram to the client. They can use it during their preparation and incorporate the results as an input for their verbal presentation. In general, internal auditors discussing audit findings and presenting recommendations to process owners can benefit by using this tool. Next topic is the flowchart or the process flow map or the value stream map. Internal auditors review processes they don't have responsibility for, yet they must have a high level of familiarity with them. They need to understand the objectives of the program or process. First is how performance is measured, how the activities are performed, who perform these activities, where the risks and controls are, where anomalies takes place. So flowchart is very helpful and versatile tool to help auditors answer questions. It is easier to understand the process and find the defects and anomalies, and it shows the activities performed. So, yung flowchart, familiar naman na kayo, kasi na-report naman na yun ng reporter natin sa CIS nila Blessy tsaka nila Angelica, kung ano yung itsura ng flowchart. And, madali lang naman yung flowchart kasi parang merong diagram na parang yung parang point na lang mismo. Yung parang pinaka main point na lang, yung mismong idea na lang, yung nakalagay dun, yung naka-emphasize sa flowchart natin. A flowchart is a diagram that represents a workflow or process. It shows the steps in the form of boxes of different shapes and the order of sequence of events by connecting the items with arrows. Flowcharts are used to design, document, manage, and analyze a program or process in virtually any field by presenting the process flow in visual form. So, kapag visualize nga natin yung flowchart is mas madali siyang maiintindihan and mahanap natin yung mga defects or anomalies nga na sinasabi ko kanina. So, si flowchart nga, meron nga siya, ginagamitan nga siya ng iba't ibang form. Pwede ring box or any shapes na gusto mong gamitin. And ginagamitan siya ng arrow para parang nakikita dun yung connection ng bawat isa. Next naman, flowchart is arguably the most common name given to this tool. It is sometimes also called process flow diagram, process map, process model, and workflow diagram. Process flow diagrams include details, such as who performs the activity, the amount time involved in either performing activities or waiting for the next step to begin. Data and information flows as well as bottlenecks, delays, and rework. So, ayan yung mga common na operational flows. So, ayun nga, yung sa flowchart nga, mas madali nga natin siyang may spot natin yung mga deficiencies and yung mga flaws na meron. So, ayun nga, mas maganda siya gamitin yung flowchart kasi mas yung pinaka-point na nga yung na-emphasize. While yung compare sa mga narratives na yung buong description pa nire-require, sobrang daming pages na kailangan basahin, and then parang ang boring niya basahin, kaya ginagamitan siya ng flowchart. At least yun, naka-image form na siya na makikita natin agad yung mga informations na kailangan nating malaman. Sa flowchart, meron tayong mga common na ginagamit. Yung rectangular boxes, it shows the processing step or activity. Yung diamonds represents a decision. Arrows show direction of the flow of each activity. Ellipses indicate the start and stop of the diagram. Ayan yung parang ayan yung mga symbols na ginagamit natin sa pagdodraw ng flowcharts. Hindi ko na masyadong i-emphasize yung flowcharts kasi na-discuss naman na siya kahapon ng mga reporters. Sila Blessy tsaka si Angelica kung nakinig kayo. And sobrang dali lang naman niyang intindihin. Kaya no need to expand na. So, ano nga ba yung mga benefits and challenges sa flowcharts? So, for the benefits of flowcharts, it is a teaching tool, a managerial tool, errors may pop out, flexible, worth 1,000 words, easy to review, useful in discussions. Kasi nga, parang naka-outline na siya eh. Makikita na natin agad yung pinaka-point sa flowchart na yun. Then, yung challenges of flowcharts is, may be too detailed if the area is complex, can take a long time to prepare, user must learn symbols. Ayun nga, can take a long time to prepare kasi, babasahin mo pa yung mismong tawag dito, yung mismong text para ma-summarize mo and makita mo yung parang main point niya. Then, kailangan marami ka pang mga symbols na malaman para sa flowcharts. Para parang maipagdugtong-dugtong mo or ma-express mo yung pinaka gusto mong sabihin. Then, too detailed siya kapag sobrang dami ng mga informations na kailangan nating ilagay. Minsan hindi siya ideal na gamitin kapag sobrang dami ng informations kasi parang ang pangit na niya tingnan, then nakakahilo kung titingnan natin. So, when drawing flowcharts, internal auditors often show the as-is process. So, the as-is process, yun, ginagamit siya para ma-document natin yung mga existing process and to verify agreement between the procedure's documentation state and what workers describe. And also to help the auditor understand the process before performing transaction tests. It is helpful to identify the control points and the control weaknesses, such as lack of segregation of duties. So, si ASIS diagram nga, pinapakita niya yung present or current state ng process. And si auditor, kailangan niyang i-document yung lahat ng nasa current state. And kailangan nga nating ipakita yung mga activities or yung mga boxes, yung decisions, yung diamonds, and yung arrows showing the flows. Para yung mga possible na mga pangyayari. So, yung first is yung sa time. Yung how long it takes activities to be performed. Yun, kung gaano katagal nga siya, gagawin yung activity na yun. And kailangan natin ng parang target na date kung kailan natin matatapos yung activity na yun kasi hindi siya pwedeng magtagal or ma-delay, ganun. Kasi parang matatambakan lang tayo. Next naman is yung bottlenecks. Ito yung mga problem in process due of limited capacity and performance of a process causes delays that impact cycle time. Then yung production volume naman is yung internal auditors examine background of the program or process during the planning phase to understand context of the review. So, ayun, all about nga, tungkol nga siya lahat sa production natin. Tungkol sa production management, yung tungkol sa mga employees natin, ganun, yung mga kailangan, yung facility, yung mga materials na kailangan, ganun, kung gano'ng kadami yung gagawin. And kung maayos ba yung mga machines na gagamitin natin sa production natin. So, next naman is yung delays. So, yun, how long are wait times? Kung gano'ng katagal nga ba yung magiging delay if there is a delay. Then, kung kaya naman ma-avoid yung mga delay is gawan natin ng paraan para ma-lessen natin yung risk na mangyayari sa company natin. The ASIS map serves as a great source of information to understand the process being reviewed, but also to establish a baseline for performance. So, ayun nga, kapag meron tayong mga anomalies na na-identify, and kapag na-correct na yung mga yun, so, si internal auditors, pati yung management, mako-compare nyo yung before and after na results using the as-is map. And ma-identify dito yung mga improvements ng internal auditor natin. Bukod sa as-is map, meron tayong ginagamit meron pa tayong isang diagram na ginagamit para mas ma-identify natin yung mga problems sa isang business na pwedeng gamitin ng mga internal auditors. Ito yung flow chart showing the to-be diagram. So, yung to-be diagram, it is thinking outside the box. Think different scenarios and possibilities. Think how else the activities and overall process should be performed. So, meron tayong mga kinoconsider sa to-be diagram natin. Ito yung automation. It can provide the meaningful time and labor savings. Kasi, di ba, automated, meron mga, meron tayong mga applications na ginagamit kapag nag-i-input tayo ng mga informations and data about sa business, ganun. Meron tayong, ginagamit nga natin tong mga automated apps na to para mas madali nating ma-input yung mga informations. Kasi dati, yung ibang mga employees, naguguluhan sila kung ano yung mga forms na gagamitin nila or kung anong information yung ilalagay nila doon. Then, kung ano yung mga kailangan nilang ilagay and yung i-retrieve nila na mga informations. So, using the Excel and the Microsoft Word, parang mas napapadali kasi nalilabel natin yung mga information na kailangan natin. Parang naayos natin yung mga datas. And maayos natin na i-represent yung mga information na yun. So, next naman is yung simplify. Dito pumapasok yung tanong na what can be eliminated, combined, or simplified. Kasi yung mga ibang mga employees ginagawa yung mga task na yun, yung mga task na hindi naman nakakailangan. Parang nakasanayan na lang nila ganun kahit na eliminate na yung task na yun. Ganun. Meron pang parang kapag hindi nila nagawa yun, parang kapag yung activity na yun hindi na pinagpatuloy or in-stop na yung activity na yun, parang hahanap-hanapin nila ganun. Kaya ayun. Next naman is yung who is involved. Dito pumapasok yung tanong na who is involved. Ito yung tanong na why are these units or individuals involved in the process and do they have to be involved? Parang yung mga yung ibang employees na hindi naman na siya kailangan para doon, kaya nga merong segregation of duties para ma-segregate natin yung bawat gawain ng bawat isa para merong kanya-kanyang gagawin. Ganun. Para hindi magulo yung ginagawa ng bawat isa, kasi pwedeng hindi ikaw yung gumawa ng ganun tapos kapag may maling nangyari, parang ikaw yung masisisi kasi marami kayong gumagamit doon. Yung kagaya nga sa sinasabi ni sir na sa mga auditor, meron silang mga kanya-kanyang mga computers ganun na ginagamit. Kasi hindi pwedeng maghirapan kasi baka kapag umalis ka ganun, tas ginamit ng isa mong coworkers, mapakalaman niya yun, ganun. Mabago yung mga informations or makuha yung information na yun. And pwedeng sa'yo pa masisi yung parang pagka ng employee ng client mo, ganun. Next naman is yung what is expected. Dito pumapasok yung performance standards help to shape priorities and provide way to measure success or failure of the process. Dito naman pumapasok yung tanong na is the process achieving the desired outputs and outcomes? Parang kung ano yung expected natin is nangyari ba, ganun. Kung ano yung nasa plano natin, nagawa ba natin yung plano. Kaya yung mga program and process managers, nag-establish sila ng metrics around customer satisfaction and retention, image, and delighting the customer. Parang meron silang sinusunod na tawag dito, parang criteria, ganun. And meron silang survey na ginagamit para malaman nila kung may pagbabago ba sa product natin ngayon. Lalo na sa panahon ngayon kasi parang lahat ng mali napapansin. Kaya dapat, kailangan, tawag dito, consistent ka, ganun. Next topic is the common process improvement areas. The following items helps to determine if the following areas present opportunities for improvement. So first dyan is yung backlogs. Represent an accumulation of work, often in the form of uncompleted work that needs to be done. Ito yung mga process and orders na kailangan gawin. Sa minsan kapag malapit na yung deadline, kailangan nating parang bilisan yung minsan meron tayong mga deadlines, hindi minsan, meron talagang mga deadlines na kailangan nating merong deadlines na ginagamit parang ini-establish para hindi magkaroon ng delay sa production natin. Next naman is yung cycle time. The total time from the start to the end of a process. Ayun nga, si total time, yung parang kung kailan ka nag-umpisa, tsaka yung end ng process mo. Parang yung duration niya, kung gaano katagal yung production nyo. So, meron tayong components sa total cycle time. First is yung stopwatch. So, ayun nga, siguro naman familiar na tayo sa word na stopwatch, na ito yung traditional approach na ginagamit, yung inoorasan. Parang, inoorasan kung gaano katagal yung process na natitake natin kung gaano katagal yung process na natitake sa paggawa ng flowchart natin. Next naman is yung systems data. Yung sa systems data, ito naman yung true logins, yung true ID or yung pag-login. Yung kagaya nga sa sinasabi ni sir, yung itatap mo na lang yung ID mo, then ma-identify mo kung kailan ka nag-login, then kung kailan ka din nag-log out. Next naman is yung sa sample. Yung sample naman is yung si auditor expands the data capture during the review. So, si auditor nga, nire-review niya yung individual files and yung test financial and yung compliance controls. Chine-check niya yung accuracy, yung what the customer asked for, what is the customer received. Parang kung ano yung hinihingi mo, parang yun din yung makukuha mo, ganun. Yun yung accuracy. Next naman is yung completeness, yung all of the transactions that constitute a customer request were executed. Parang ginawa mo kung ano yung nire-request ng customer. Parang kung ano yung hiningi niya, ganun. Parang sa accuracy lang din. Next is yung sa authorization. Every transaction was business related. Every transaction was reviewed and approved as required. Ayun yung sa authorization. Parang yung bawat transaction na ginawa is may connection talaga siya sa business na yan. So, sa pag-expand nga ng data capture during the review, auditor can test for speed of execution since delays and rework are a performance risk that impact customer satisfaction and eventually future sales, customer retention, and reputation. So, when working with a sample, the auditor can capture evidence of each step being performed and note the operator, the date, and the time for each steps. So, kapag nga yung sample is random and it represents the population, the cycle time should provide some interesting insights about eto nga yung sa nandito sa table yung checklist natin na Are the tasks necessary? What can be reduced or eliminated? Are activities in conflict with others? Can anything be simplified? Are all handoffs necessary? Can can the sequence be changed? Are all checks, approvals, and decisions necessary? Are the loops or incompatible duties in the process? Are there dead ends anywhere? Next naman is yung takt time. Takt time is the rate at which the production operation produces output. The term is derived from the German word Taktzeitata, that translates to rhythm. It relates to the average amount of time or pace of activities. So, si takt time describes the product duration that is needed to match the demand. The rate at which you needed to work and finish production process in order to meet the customer demand. Ayun nga, parang kung gaano katagal yung time na dapat mong i-consume lang kada sa demand na yun. Sa paggawa ng operation na yun. So, meron tayong formula na ginagamit. Takt time is equal to total production time per period divided by customer demand per period. So, meron tayong example sa copy na binigay ni sir. Pa-check na lang kasi hindi ko nalagay. Example, consider a mortgage loan processing operation with a staff of 10 operators that receives an average of 180 loan applications per day. The unit spends 6 hours actively processing these applications per day after deducting lunch, breaks, and required meetings. Takt time would be calculated as follows. So, ayun nga, meron nga tayong 10 operators times 6 hours kasi ayun yung active processing nila. Multiply by 60 minutes kasi per hour nga. So, a total of 3,600 divided by 180. Ito yung mga loan applications na kailangan nilang ayusin per day. So, 3,600 divided by 180 equals to 20 minutes. So, kailangan 20 minutes lang per application nila. 20 minutes lang yung kailangan nilang i-consume kada application. So, another example is yung nag-work immersion kami sa cravings, basta yun sa Katipunan. Napunta ko sa may auditing, basta sa auditing department, ayun. 5 kaming immersionist doon, then 6 hours lang yung duty namin doon. Bali 5 hours, less na yung lunch namin na 1 hour, then 60 minutes. So, 5 na immersionist times 5 hours times 60 equals to 1,500. So, divided by yung, tawag dito, nakakapag-sort kami ng 30 na, tawag dito, 30 na clients. 30 files sa bawat clients. So, divided by 30 equals to 50. Bali, 50 minutes yung kailangan naming i-consume per client. 50 minutes bawat isa. Next is lead time. Lead time refers to the time from the initiation to the completion of a process. So, ito, for example, is si company, nag-order siya ng item. Then, doon mag-i-start yung time kapag parang nilabas na yung item na yun hanggang sa makadating na sa kanila yung in-order nila na item. So, minsan meron tayong risk na ma-encounter, which is yung kapag nami-mismanage natin yung lead time. Kung saan nag-lead siya na pwedeng mag-cause ng pag-stop ng production kasi na out of stock na yung item na out of stock na sila. Then, ayun nga, i-stop nga nila yung production kasi kulang ng isang parang materials na kailangan nila. So, yung ibang company, lalo na yung mga big organization is, ang ginagawa nila is, nag, nag-iipon sila ng extra inventory para malesen yung risk na mangyari na magkaroon, na ma-out of stock pan sila, ganon. Kahit na kahit na dagdag siya sa cost, is gagawin nila yun para hindi lang mag-stop yung production nila, na pwedeng mag-cause pa ng mas malaking parang mag-cause pa na hindi nila pag-earn. So, yung mga organizations, meron silang metrics na ginagamit. The following are some suggested questions to explore opportunities to improve the process. So, ayan yung mga questions na ginagamit para mas ma-improve natin yung process natin sa organization. Ito yung about sa operation, sa documents, filing, the delays, transportation, inspection, and decisions. Next naman is yung 8 areas of waste. So, waste reduction, kailangan yung waste reduction is nag-lead siya ng better na pag-utilize ng mga limited resources natin. And mas napapataas niya yung profitability ng isang company. So, paano nga ba nagkakaroon ng waste? So, yung waste nag-uumpisa siya kapag mas madami yung mga materials na nagamit kaysa sa na-produce natin na product na parang yung target na product natin, ganun. So, bakit nga ba nangyayari yun? Siyempre kasi yung iba kapag nagkakamali sila, parang may error, ganun. Sa mga machines din, ganun. Then, kapag hindi na aayos yung mga ginagawa. So si Taichi Ono, isang Toyota chief engineer, is nag-develop siya ng 7 areas of waste nga para mabantayan natin or ma-monitor natin yung sa production ng company natin. Yun nga yung transporting, unnecessary inventory, excess motion, waiting, unnecessary processing or paperwork, defects, and overproduction. Under sa lean concept, there is 8. Yung 7 na ways na sinabi ko kanina, and dito yung underutilized employees. So, first is transporting. It relates to moving people, products, and information. So, ano nga ba yung ways na pwedeng mangyari doon? Ito yung sa pagda-transport ng mga orders. Syempre, hindi naman may iwasan yung magkaroon ng damage, delay, or mawala yung item sa order. And since nga na walang additional cost sa pagda-transport ng mga products, is nakakadagdag na siya sa cost ng company na may incur. And ayun nga, walang compensation para doon sa mga products na na-damage during the transportation of products. Kaya yung firms is, iniipon nila yung mga orders muna para sabay-sabay na lang na madi-deliver yung mga orders para malesen yung cost na gagastusin gaya ng gas, packaging and packing and handling na hindi naman binabayaran ng mga customers. Kaya ngayon, 'di ba, meron na ring pick up para hindi na magi-spend ng time and cost sa pag-transport ng orders yung company. So, number 2 is yung unnecessary inventory. This relates to storing parts, pieces, and documentation ahead of requirements. So, dito, sinasabi nga na always remember na yung best inventory is yung zero inventory. Kasi, syempre, ibig sabihin nun, naubos yung mga products or items mo. Nagamit lahat ng mga yun, and pinapakita doon na mataas yung cost. So, paano nga ba nagkakaroon ng waste dito? Ito yung mga unprocessed inventories. At yung mga unprocessed inventories na yung mga nakastock na storage na may connection sa capital kasi nga hindi nabenta yung inventories na yun. So nakastock lang yung pera or yung capital natin doon nakastock. And dahil nga sa hindi siya na-process, yung space ng storage na yun and yung mga containers na ginagamit or yung mga lagayan ng mga inventories is hindi nagagamit na maayos dahil nga sa mga nakastock na inventories. Hindi siya napapalitan, ganun. Third is yung excess motion. So, sa excess motion, iba siya sa sa transportation of waste. Kasi 'di ba nga, yung sa transportation, ito yung moving of people, products, and etc. Then, itong excess motion na to, ito yung mga movements na walang kinalaman sa trabaho. Or yung mga parang OA na gawain like lifting, walking, ganun. Parang sinasabi dito na kapag trabaho lang. Kapag nagtatrabaho ka, dapat nakafocus ka lang doon. Hindi yung naglalakad-lakad ka, ganun. Kasi pwedeng maistorbo mo yung mga coworkers mo, and etc. Yung mga unnecessary movements na yun is pwedeng mag-cause ng damage nga or defect sa ginagawa na pwede ring mag-cause ng delay sa production ng firm.